Today we'll be talking about two very important topics in economics. And these topics relate to specialization in exchange and division of labor. Now, what is specialization and exchange? Let's assume that you are talented in teaching, all right? But since you don't only need to teach your kids, you need to do other things as well in your life. For example, you need to do groceries, you need to make a house, you need to drive a car. So you have to do so many things. But you are good at only one thing. So what would you do? Would you do that one thing only, or would you do everything? The point is that if we spend our energies in doing everything, we will waste a lot of resources because we are not good in doing everything, right? So let's say, as in our example, the guy is a good teacher. So what he should do is that he should specialize in teaching, and he should teach not only his own kids, but he should teach other kids and charge money. And from that money, he needs to buy the stuff that his family needs. So, and he needs to get a driver, he needs to get some people to build a house. Basically, the surplus money that he earned from specialization in teaching would be used in other walks of his life. This is far better than him doing everything on his own. For example, he's teaching his kids and he's making the house on his own and he's driving his own car, whereas he's not a good driver. So specialization and exchange means that everybody should focus on thing at which everyone is good, everyone has a comparative advantage, and the surplus would generate wealth, and from that wealth, he can exchange other goods and services from other people who are good in making or delivering other goods and services. For example, our teacher will earn a lot of money and he might use that money to hire somebody else as his driver who would be very good in driving cars. So the idea is that you focus on your own strength, and then the surplus money should be used to buy services or buy products from others wherein others have strengths in those products or services. The whole idea is that when we do this, we will have conservation of resources and our resources would not be wasted because the guy who's the best driver would be driving and the guy who's the best teacher would be teaching. All right. So this is the idea. Specialization refers to a situation where individuals in firms, region, and nation concentrate upon producing some goods and services rather than others. For example, Pakistan specializes in textile. We don't do well in, let's say, making tractors and making cars. We are exceptionally good in making textiles. So our economy's focus is textiles. Although we make other things as well, we make cars as well, but on a much smaller extent because we make expensive cars. A Toyota Corolla in Pakistan is worth 30 lakh rupees and the same maybe is worth 15 lakhs in Dubai. Why? Because we are not that good in making cars. We don't specialize in that, right? So every country, every region should focus on their own strengths. That is how they will generate a lot of wealth and resources would not be wasted. For example, in office, organizational responsibilities are distributed according to each individual's capability. Somebody who's a good, let's say, typist would be given the job of a typist. Somebody is a good presenter, then that person would be given the job of giving presentations because of their strengths. Through expansion of trade and development of global markets, benefits of regional and national specialization became apparent. Obviously, when countries and regions will specialize in things at which they are better than others, then resources would not be wasted and the benefits would be reaped by everybody. Surplus produced by regions and countries were bought and sold, export and import, allowing world living standards to rise. Now, in Pakistan, in every house, we have a refrigerator, probably made in Japan. All of us drive cars. Most of the parts of these cars come from Japan. But how do we manage to do that? Because our textile industry makes a lot of clothes and those clothes are exported to other countries, including Japan. What do we do is that the thing in which we specialize, we export that thing, and the money that we get from those exports is used, the foreign currency from that export is used to import goods for import those goods which production is not viable in Pakistan, or we do not have a competitive advantage in those. For example, car parts and air conditioning parts, they're mostly imported from the foreign exchange earned from the exporting textile industry. So we export our surplus, we generate money from that surplus, and that surplus is used to import other goods. And that is how living standards have improved in Pakistan in the past, let's say, 50 years. Disadvantages. There are also disadvantages of specialization and change. Dangers of specialization are that pace of technological development and change may render an individual's acquired skill set and experience redundant. To counter that, individuals should be flexible and multi-skilled. For example, when you specialize in one thing only, people who are working in other industries might get out of their jobs. Or due to change in technology and due to progress, their jobs might go out of fashion. The only solution to this problem is that you need to have multi-skilled workforce, right? And then we also have the very important concept of division of labor. This concept was brought forward by the father of economics, Adam Smith. It is a process through which production has been broken down into a series of tasks for the labor force. For example, Adam Smith showed how the production of pins would benefit from the application of division of labor in a factory. He suggested it could be broken down into 18 distinct operations, and if each employee undertook one operation, production would rise to 5,000 pins per employee per day from a few dozen pins per day. When he visited a pin factory, he saw that everybody was doing everything. For example, everybody was bringing in metal blocks, and then everybody was cutting it, then everybody was making needles and pins, and then everybody was polishing it, and then everybody was packing it. So everybody was doing everything, which caused a lot of wastage of time. So he said, instead of doing this, we need to divide this whole process into small tasks, and we need to assign one person to that specific task. And when you do that specific task, you become good at it, and time wastage will be minimized. So only one person would be bringing in the blocks, only one person would be cutting those blocks, only one person would be making pins, only one person would be polishing, and only one person would be packaging, for example. And there were other steps as well. So I've just given the simplest example. So when this happened, the production increased from a few dozen per day to 5,000 pins per day. This was the result of division of labor, wherein you assign one person to one job only, so that he can do it well, and when he'll do it well, time waste will be reduced. But it has its disadvantages, which means it creates monotonous tasks which create dissatisfaction among workers. When people do different tasks, they have variety, and when they have variety, they're generally happy. When people do only one task during the whole day, they get bored because of the monotony, and this creates a bit of dissatisfaction. This is the disadvantage. So these were the two important concepts: specialization and exchange and division of labor. Both are very important building blocks of economics, and we must understand both of these concepts very well in order to proceed further.